Talking about fake news.
Those fake news stories.
Fake political news. The impact of fake news.
There has always been a story in American history, whether it is gossip to social media posts to the 7 p.m. nightly news with Lester Holt. A story has always been at the forefront of conversations and conspiracies across our nation. Nearly 3 centuries celebrating some of our greatest triumphs to our most painful sorrows. One group of brave individuals have been there to document it all: the media. You've heard that old saying, you can't know where you are going until you know where you have been? Well, one building standing in between the nation's capital and the White House itself proves that the power of storytelling not only withstands the test of time, but helps define it.
It was started really to be a champion of the First Amendment and explaining and demystifying the craft of journalism.
Journalism is defined as the activity or profession of writing, broadcasting the news, preparing, and researching the news to be given to the masses. However, recent events have called into question this job description.
I think it's the same role that journalists have always played. Hold people accountable, tell stories, and be the voice of the community. Use your megaphone for good.
I'm most alarmed that from the very top of the new administration, the president himself, we are seeing what seems to be a relentless assault on the First Amendment and on the free press.
I'd be a pretty good reporter, not as good as you. But I know what's good. I know what's bad. And when they change it and make it really bad, something that should be positive, sometimes something that should be very positive, they'll make okay. They'll even make it negative.
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about. Try getting it out.
Like this sleazy guy right over here from ABC. He's a sleaze in my book. You're a sleaze because you know the facts, and you know the facts well.
A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people.
The enemy of the people? Wow. I mean, a free press is not the enemy of the people, it's the guardian for the people.
The First Amendment in our Constitution guarantee the rights of free expression and action that are fundamental to our democratic government. The rights include freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, freedom to petition, and freedom of speech.
I think when people think about free press and fake news, that's fine, but if we don't have the freedom of speech to bring up our opposition against the press or petition the government to allow press to be more active, you don't really get a balanced government. So you have to use all 5 freedoms of the First Amendment.
When it works and works well, that's its job. It may be uncomfortable for people like me, right, in elective office, but that's the role.
This conversation all started on June 16, 2015, when Donald J. Trump had this to say to the American people.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
Part of Trump's campaign strategy was to spread fake ideas. So one of his closest campaign advisors, Roger Stone, I mean, he reveled in this. I mean, after the first debate, he spread the idea that Hillary had been taken off the stage on a stretcher with an oxygen mask on.
I think you hit it right on the head. Of course she left. They had to get her on an oxygen tank off stage as soon as they could.
All of it has some basis in reality, but it has a lot of basis in non-reality too.
During the run-up to the 2016 election, Trump had one unique and unprecedented relationship with the media, unlike any other presidential candidate before him.
They helped create this character, Donald Trump. They gave him, in the primary season in 2016, it is estimated $2 billion of free media coverage. $2 billion.
Particularly in elections, are they covering, let's do in-depth policy stories? No, they don't do that. They're like, who gained 1% in the polls today? Well, who gives a fuck? It's non-news. It's designed to bring in clicks, but it's not news. It doesn't add to our understanding of politics or policy. It doesn't help us make better choices.
The CBS's president, Les Moonves, actually was quoted a year ago as saying, yeah, I know we gave him a lot of free airtime, and that probably wasn't good for the country, but it was very good for CBS.
Don't forget, that's the way I won. Remember, I used to give you a news conference every time I made a speech, which was like every day. Okay? No, that's how I won. I won with news conference and probably speeches. I certainly didn't win by people listening to you people, that's for sure.
A journalist has to bring in readers, or else they go out of business, right? So in order to exist and provide any news, they have to draw audiences, they have to attract advertisers.
Are there any boundaries beyond which you won't go? And I'm not talking about, First Amendment restrictions. I'm just saying, as long as he's good copy and he helps make you money, that's your only criteria? Well, then I think we have a big problem in this country with the media and its exercise of that First Amendment in the political arena.
The business, we all work for businesses and we know where our money comes from. We know our source of revenue. But the news department and the sales department don't meet in the middle on this one. In fact, we have a lot of checks and balances to make sure that we are being pure and we are being journalistically sound.
Even after all the free media attention Trump received, he still saw it as his #1 enemy, constantly dismissing journalism as a whole.
Tomorrow they will say, Donald Trump rants and raves at the press. I'm not ranting and raving. I'm just telling you, you're dishonest people.
Look, that's called, you know what that's called? Dishonest media. That's called dishonest reporting.
Well, let me
Give us a question.
Don't be rude.
Can you
No,
give
I'm
us
not
a
gonna give you
question?
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Fake news is not new, and it's something that's always been around. It's just something that we're hearing about more because it's an opportunity to scapegoat, and it's an opportunity to elevate some news stories that wouldn't ultimately be heard.
Fake news can really rile people up, and often fake news is very emotional. So it isn't about, this memo versus that memo. It's, child predators are using a pizza parlor as their base of operations right above, or below Hillary Clinton's campaign. And that led a man to come with a gun to town to, want to right that situation. It was all made up. It was all false. And so a lot of harm can flow from fake news, both in shaping distorted political opinions, but also in harming people's good name.
From NBC. She's back there. Little Katie. She's back there. What a lie it was. No, what a lie. Katie Turner. What a lie it was from NBC to have written that. It was a total lie. Third-rate reporter. Remember that, third-rate.
And with social media, anyone could spread their ideas far and wide very quickly in a way that couldn't be done before. So it's democratized both journalism and the means to broadcast that journalism. But some people have abused this and they knowingly spread false ideas. Sometimes for purposes of propaganda, sometimes for purposes of profit.
And a lot of people get information from so many different places. And you don't necessarily know if you're getting it from a journalist or if you're getting it from somebody who is saying that he or she is a journalist, or someone who doesn't have any claim like that at all, but just somebody that is an active social media user, an active tweeter, somebody who just knows a lot, somebody who's just sharing their opinions. So I think it is more incumbent upon journalists to make sure that people know their credibility, and it's more incumbent on people who are using the media and getting stuff from the media, which they should and always have, to understand exactly what their source is.
Don't be a one-sided consumer of news. Don't just read the things that make you feel like you're hearing the right things. Don't just be the person who says, I read the New York Times and therefore I'm informed. No, you have to go to Breitbart as well. You have to see what the world is saying, because there is news within all of those outlets. And to be a proper consumer of news, you have to read a wide, vast, and diverse way of covering the news.
You have to really understand what all the sides are. And to do that, you've got your own opinions. You've got what you're consuming, certain newspapers, certain television programs, certain magazines. And I do think it's healthy to watch something with another point of view. If you're a really, really conservative person who has your television on Fox News all the time, I do think it's really good to watch some other things that may be more left-leaning. If you are a very liberal person and you cannot even understand the conservative point of view, then yeah, watch some of Fox News. Read some of Breitbart, because that will help open your mind.
I think it really is important that people have multiple sources, that they challenge what they see, that they don't accept everything at face value, and that they try to expose themselves to alternative points of view, if for no other reason than as a test of reality, as they in their search to try to get to the truth.
You can have some things that you might agree with. Let's say it's the Times or the Washington Post. But fill up with some things that you might not necessarily agree with. But get rid of the junk. Cut out the fat. You know, if you're getting things that say, you know, Hillary's dead, cut it out. You know, move on. You know, create a better media environment for yourself.
If the media's job is to be honest and tell the truth, then I think we would all agree the media deserves a very, very big, fat failing grade. Very dishonest people, and not all of them. You know, we call it the fake news. Not all of them. Do you notice now everybody's using the word fake news? Where did you hear it first, folks?